So we have more information about Bryan Kohberger, the guy who is suspected to have killed the 4 University of Idaho students. It was pretty scant on evidence to begin with, but now, as I guess maybe potentially we're getting closer to a trial date at the end of the year, because he did waive his right to a speedy trial. And it won't be until the fall, maybe the winter, probably even 2024 before he ends up hitting a courtroom. But given the popularity of this case, it could be a little bit sooner in order to speed things up and to seek justice for the families that are afflicted by this. We're starting to find out just a little bit more about this. So Bryan Kohberger had photos of Idaho victim on his phone because it kind of seemed like this was a random attack. Like, it was plotted in some form or fashion. There were a couple of different threads that were out there that people were trying to latch onto. And it's like, okay, he's a devout vegan all of a sudden. And 2 of the girls that were living in that house started to or were working very briefly at the local vegan restaurant, which is, you know, up there in the Midwest. The vegan restaurants are few and far between, and vegans, because they're weird, need to know exactly where they are eating. So yeah, of course, it would make sense if that's where the connection was made. And now it seems as though there's more concrete evidence on that, alongside a lot more of an introspective look into who Bryan Kohberger is. So let's figure out more about this simp. Accused Idaho killer Bryan Kohberger allegedly had multiple photos of one of the female victims on his phone. Oh man, one-itis, man. It's, again, you have to be good with women. You have to understand intersexual dynamics. You have to kill the beta before he kills you. That's what you have right there. Once again, somebody else who got one-itis, like, oh my god, she's a vegan too. Oh, they're so rare. I can only have one of them. What am I going to do if I can't make her my girl? It's like, bro, there's 8 billion people on this planet. Half of them are women. And if you are that guy, if you are the alpha vegan, if you will, you're going to find some girl. She'll fall into your frame. No, but it's too difficult to work on yourself. No. You're just going to try to comport, and you're just going to try to simp your way into bed with some chick. It's like, come on, man. Shit never fucking works. Anyways, images were found on Kohberger's phone when it was seized by investigators after he was arrested in late December of November 13th. Stabbing deaths of Kaylee Gonsalves, Madison Mogan, Xana Kernoodle, and Ethan Chapin. Source told People magazine. All right. Though the source did not identify which of the female victims was in the picture, they confirmed that Kohberger had more than one photo of her. It was clear that he was paying attention to her, they said, at the time of his arrest. Kohberger, 28. You're 20... Oh, for fuck's sakes, bro. Was a doctoral student in criminology at Washington State University in Pullman, 15 minutes off campus, home where the students were killed. Investigators are tight-lipped in the Pennsylvania native's possible ties to the victim. A cell phone data, including the probable cause affidavit, revealed that he likely stalked the neighborhood multiple times in the months before the murders. Yeah, that's how specific the cell phone data is. Like, oh my god, there was a rapper who's gonna end up getting the death penalty because the cell phone data is so precise that it showed him getting out of the vehicle and moving around. So I guess a little tip, if you want to be, hitting the streets in that way, leave your cell phone at home, because depending on your carrier, that shit is really precise. The affidavit also included touch DNA evidence linking Kohberger to a knife sheath at the scene. That's the only concrete evidence that we heard at the time after he was snatched up. There is a specific United States Marine Corps sheath that he stupidly left there. Outside of that, nobody really would have figured anything out. It was on the button of the sheath, because that's the only thing that they have. As well as reports from surviving roommate Dylan Mortensen, who came face to face with the alleged killer as he left the property. Yo, could you imagine? Because we went through that. God, that's been a while now at this point in time. But the way that it was all laid out, like there was a virtual walkthrough of the house itself, and off the back room, did they get a picture of the house itself? Yes, they do. So he would have came through the back door right there. That leads directly into the kitchen, and then just outside of that is a bedroom where the girl who came, Dylan there, it came face to face with Kohberger, who was coming from, doing his dirt on that side of the house right there. You can't see. Damn it, why can't you see the cursor this time around? Anyways, yeah, he was leaving back through the kitchen, and She poked her head out and to just see something, and all she seen was just a figure dressed in black, big bushy eyebrows. News of Kohberger's alleged camera roll evidence comes shortly after the New York Times reported that he was fired from a teaching assistant position amid allegations that he behaved inappropriately with female students. Again, if he had any game at all whatsoever, see shit like this, and I know that not everybody's gonna, find helpful information that's out there, but it would save so many fucking lives. 4 people would still be alive at this point in time. He wouldn't be going to jail. Anyways, according to 2 anonymous sources, Kohberger followed at least 1 student to her car. In nearly 2 months since he has arrested at his parents' home, past classmates and acquaintances have called Kohberger a creepy loner who morphed into a bully teen and an aggressive adult, alongside also him having a heroin addiction. Like, yo, that was the last thing I was expecting, because he went from being a fat guy to a fit guy to a murderous guy. Didn't see the heroin addiction pop in anywhere. So, former friends of Idaho murder suspect Bryan Kohberger reveals how his heroin addiction drove them apart, with one claiming he duped her into driving him to buy the drugs and needles. Oh, so this bitch is just stupid. One estranged friend said heroin goofed him pretty bad. Well, it's heroin. What did you expect? As others claim, he was looking for validation in the drug scene. Well, at the same time, he lost half of his body mass and became more aggressive. Becoming more aggressive on heroin, that's not normally something that you hear, but okay. The suspect had no known link to the victim, but today it emerged he had multiple images for one of the girls that was out there. It would just be a little bit odd, and that would definitely be a startling development if it was Ethan Chapin that he had a bunch of pictures of. But I forget all of the dynamics. I think it was, Xana and Ethan that were dating, and Madison and Kaylee were in the upstairs bedroom. I forget the specific series of events, like which couple ended up getting slaughtered first. But it all makes sense if he was opining over one of the girls, and, well, it still doesn't make sense that he would break into somebody's house and slit their throat. Like, what was the entire point of this? But the first room that he goes into, he sees a blonde girl in bed with another dude, just yeets them both. And then afterwards he realizes, oh shit, that's not her. Okay, and then just goes into another room, sees another couple of girls sleeping, yeets them, and figures out, oh, that's one of them. Okay, good. Well, 1 out of 4 ain't bad, but it still doesn't make sense. Why he would do this? Like, if he was breaking and entering in order to try to do some breaking and entering, if you know what I mean, that's one thing, but with the specific intent to start yeeting people, I don't know. I really don't know. Casey Arntz, who graduated 2 years ahead of Kohberger, told the Idaho Statesman the suspected killer first started taking drugs as a way to fit in, as a previous report suggests. He was a chubby misfit in school. Yeah, if he wanted to lose weight, normally like crack or cocaine, and maybe he should have shared it around with those 2 lumps. That's not normally the drug that you go to, okay? He was looking for validation, and that's why he fell into that crowd. Really? The heroin crowd. All right, then. Casey, 29, who belongs to the same friendship group as Kohberger, along with her younger brother Thomas, added that the suspected killer had manipulated her to help him score drugs. Well, if you guys were all friends and he asked you for a ride, is that really manipulation? Help! Bryan Kohberger trafficked me. Shut up. He literally used to get me to get it. I was freaking out and not happy. I had heroin in my car and I didn't even know it. Well, you didn't know it until you did, so just shut your mouth. Kohberger attended school in Pleasant Valley, Pennsylvania. Oh, it sounds so nice, until he had to go futz it all up. A report of one of the highest rates of overdose deaths in one of the worst hit states of the U.S. opioid epidemic. Oh, see, that starts to make more sense. Now, locals described the 28-year-old, who had not known a criminal record before being accused of the homicide, as a normal student, with Thomas saying he was drawn to his wit and observational skills. So he decided, let me dull all of that out by shooting up. Very, very strange. And a very good segue, because now we're starting to figure out what he could end up facing once this eventually does go to trial, if we got a trial date or anything like that. But Bryan Kohberger could face a firing squad if he's convicted of Idaho murderers, thanks to a new bill tabled by a local lawmaker, as ex-friend reveals how suspect had a tummy tuck after losing weight. Sorry, what? Now we're getting more information about holy. All right. Accused murderer Bryan Kohberger may face a firing squad if he's found guilty of quadruple homicide of 4 college students last year. I'm not necessarily against that. It's just a very strange development. Definitely not one I've seen coming. Lawyers are believed to be gearing up for the possibility of the death penalty trial for the 28-year-old criminal justice major who remains the only suspect in the November 13th slayings of everybody that was there. Need not run over everybody's names once more. Prosecutors laid out the charging documents, how Kohberger stalked out the off-campus home in the weeks before the murder and kept multiple photos of one of the female students on his phone. That'll come to light during the trial, obviously. Now, a Republican state lawmaker has introduced a bill that would once again allow for execution by firing squad in the state. Now, recently, we just seen some charges being taken off the table in the Rust shooting involving Alec Baldwin and Hannah Gutierrez Reed, which took 5 potential years off of any convictions that would have been found. So could this ex post facto bill somehow not apply to Kohberger? But if there's already the death penalty on the books in Idaho, which there is, if there's just different ways about going about it as opposed to lethal injection, like I would prefer hanging by the neck, paraded through the streets, tar and feathering drawn and quartered, whatever we want to do. I'm not making an entire day about it. I don't know. But firing squad, though, that just always seemed like one thing that was kind of reserved for people of a certain stature. I don't necessarily know if he fits that, but okay. Death by firing squad was illegal in Idaho from 1982 through 2009. Sorry, what? When the legislature removed it as an option. No, left a lethal injection as the only legal form of execution in the state. Oh, man. No. Let's public case like this with this much interest. It kind of does deserve the firing squad, don't you think? But acquiring the chemicals used for lethal injection has become increasingly difficult. Oh, my God. So Pete Buttigieg is somehow going to affect this because of his inability to manage the supply chain crisis? Holy. Last year, the legislature passed a bill allowing any company or pharmacy that provided the chemicals used in lethal injections with anonymity in hopes that more companies and pharmacies would be willing to contract with the legislature to provide the necessary ingredients. Or also, on top of the revelation that this guy used to do heroin, perhaps his tolerance is so high that they would require so much lethal injection that it's just untenable. So bullets, multiple of them, that could be fine. That could be arranged too. I'm sure that there's a lot of people that would be more than willing to pull the trigger. Representative Bruce Skog, okay, a Republican from Nampa, has since sponsored the bill to bring back firing squad, make firing squads great again, bring back firing squads as a legal form of execution in Idaho. Death by potato throwing. Oh my God. Bruce, get the spuds. The bill states the Idaho Department of Corrections must determine whether the execution by lethal injection is an available method no later than 5 days after the death warrant is issued. But that's also presuming a whole bunch of other things. So I guess we're just trying to put the cart before the horse, or the addiction ahead of the addict. Something like that. But yeah, we are still... Oh, okay, yeah, the only date that I see on here, like, there's no timetable for this trial to actually happen. Kohberger is now expected to enter a plea on June 26, which means the Latah County prosecutor has until the end of July to officially pursue the death penalty. So, yeah, we're not going to be getting updates on this for another 4 months. 4 months at this point in time. So, there's going to be a lot more... or rather another drop of very interesting material between now and then, probably of him accosting minors at a local pickup basketball game. I don't know, this guy's a total creep. But with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.